on loan from God. It's Friday morning and it's time for your Friday morning hometown movie guys on KRIM's Community Spotlight. Tina, Craig, and Andy with us in the studio. And the big question is, how y'all doing?
I'm doing fine, and the Harkonians really are stinkers.
Those darn Harkonians.
Yes.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Leanne.
There you go. And all the black and tan folks. Anyway.
Hi, Nicole.
There you go. Now, this morning on KRIM's Community Spotlight, as we always do on Friday, we're talking to your hometown movie guys, Tina, Craig, and Andy, and we're talking about what's going on at the Sawmill Theaters. And there is an epic saga about to unfold this afternoon for the first time here in Payson. And people are getting pretty excited about this. It's the return of Dune. Which hasn't, the first one came out in the 80s?
Like 84?
84.
Yeah. So it's
David Lynch movie.
Yeah, David Lynch.
And so this, the first one, frankly, and we talked a little bit about it last week, didn't do a lot for me, but it didn't really do much. Yeah, I know. Knock you over with a feather.
How can you say that?
But at the box office to begin with, it didn't do a lot of good, and it became more of a cult classic.
Classic, yeah.
But I think that's gonna be a little different this time around.
This one's a little more solid.
Yeah.
It's the first one. First thing, that was the first one was about 2.5 hours also.
Right.
This film, this is part one of Dune.
Right.
Is 2.5 hours. So, but this is really only the first half of that movie from the 80s.
Oh, okay. And I'll cut your microphone while you sneeze.
Just
a second, I got to turn your microphone back up because you were swilling coffee a moment ago and I had to turn it down. Okay, go ahead.
No coffee swilling on air?
He's such a control freak.
That's right.
Really.
And let's just turn her microphone off. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I forgot what I was going to say.
It's getting all late for sissies.
Twirl.
Okay.
Yeah, so they turned a 2.5 hour movie into a 5 hour movie, basically. And this is the first half of that.
Okay, so this is a brand new first half of a 5-hour movie.
That's one way of looking at it.
Something like that, yeah. Basically, they turned that movie that came out in 1984, they're going to turn that into 2 movies. So the one that we've got now is the first half of the one from 1984.
So they basically have just redone the movie from 84. But with today's technology and...
Sort of.
Special effects are just incredible. This is a big, beautiful, loud movie.
So when it comes,
this is Hans Zimmer.
I dated someone like that one time.
Man.
This is Hans Zimmer
My
doing
favorite
the music.
movie composer of all time.
He's
Great.
I don't even know what kind of horn it is. They're just different parts of the movie where they're.
Hans Zimmer, wasn't he with the guy with the pan flute? No, that was
No, he did that. He did Gladiator. Remember
Ooh,
that?
that's right.
The soundtrack.
That's pretty
Some of this horn stuff. You just get this image of a guy standing on top of a mountain in the Alps with a giant goat horn.
So now you've seen the movie.
Yes.
And in your professional opinion, when it comes to some of the mind-popping effects and stuff like that, or eye-popping effects, are there a couple of things in there that really wow, that blew your mind?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Give us a little well-seasoned taste.
Well, there's some battle scenes that are, these giant starships coming in and they're firing these crazy explosives and firing laser beams and it just
cool.
It's really neat and it's just a big epic type film.
Sounds like a typical Friday night here in Payson.
The cast is incredible. Dave Bautista in here. Timothy Chalamet is quickly become one of my favorite actors.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa's in here.
Jason Momoa plays Duncan Idaho.
He's a force.
Duncan Idaho?
Yeah. He's got a screen presence that's really impressive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
The only joke in the whole movie that I remember, Timothy, how do you say his name? Chalamet?
Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet is actually born in New York, but he looks, and his name would make you think he's a Frenchman.
Really?
Yeah, he's a very...
What, you go wee-wee all the time, or what?
Well, he's a very slightly built fellow, and he's kind of soft and...
Effeminate.
He's
cheesy.
He's kind of the opposite of Dave Bautista. And Momoa, of course, Momoa is a huge guy. He's the sword master for the family.
I think I knew his brother-in-law, Mimosa. Doesn't
I
get
want
too
some.
worse than this.
So he,
It's Friday. It's time for a weekend already. Give me more coffee.
so he.
Let's
he-
go, Brandon.
At one point in the movie, he grabs the kid's arm and he says, "Geez, you've been working out? Your muscles are bigger." And the kid looks at him and says, "Really?" And he says, "Oh no."
Just
the rest of the movie is completely serious.
Right. Well, you gotta love that anyway. I mean, it's you gotta at least have a little bit of. Even all the best movies, even if they're a real dramatic, action-packed thing, you gotta have a little humor in there. I don't know.
That's the only humor.
Yeah, there's not much humor in this thing. It's pretty serious.
Hey, by the way, good morning to Tambi and Alana, and for watching us on Facebook Live. You can catch us and actually see our bright, shining faces right here live
Hey, Alana.
on
Hi.
Facebook Live. Look for KRIM FM. At any rate,
Who else is in the movie?
yeah, who else?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I said Josh Brolin's in there.
Yeah.
Now, Josh Brolin, he's
He's
been in movies for like 50 years or something like that.
His father is married to Barbara Streisand.
Yeah, and his father's
James
name James.
Brolin.
That's okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
He's
I
he's
read
been-
the tabs.
last few years he's been pretty busy. You know,
He
he
is.
was
He's-
actually played Thanos in the Avengers movies.
Right.
The crusher of the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
Gee,
Yeah.
Christmas.
He was in the last Deadpool film.
Really.
Right.
Yes.
So he's been
so he's
getting
been in
pretty
some big
constant work.
stuff. Yeah, these are
And his dad dates back to what? Marcus Welby, MD.
Maybe.
I think.
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Long time.
in a galaxy.
Anyway, he
far,
plays
far away.
Gurney Halleck, as you will recall from the book.
Oh, of course. Yes.
And,
Yeah.
he's the weapon master, not to be confused with the sword master.
Okay. And so, and do we have any numbers on what it cost to make this latest version of Dune?
Yes.
And what, pray tell, would those numbers be?
Well, let me check here. A lot.
I'm gonna go with a lot. I'm
Big.
gonna go 225. That's my guess.
What's that?
225. I'm guessing.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Locked in. All right.
Right.
And the real answer is?
I think I screwed it up. I have 164. And
Oh.
I think that's.
Oh.
I think
think
that's.
Greg is right.
I think that's the box office.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think Greg
Because
is
it's
right.
been out in Europe and
Really?
other minuscule places.
Why did Europe get it first?
You know what? We were going to talk about this a little bit, but you know, Warner Brothers is streaming this thing.
Warner Brothers really stinks.
Yeah, they're and what we're seeing is you know, it doesn't matter if they put this thing out in Europe. We have the internet, so people just pirate it. and
So now,
it's
this is just
everywhere.
hitting the theater today, but they're
Yeah.
also streaming it
Streaming.
today.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Now-
then next week, before I forget, Craig says it's going to be in 3D.
Oh yeah, we're gonna move to
Next
3D.
week?
Yeah, I'll have the 3D showing next week also.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's nothing like watching a movie in 3D in the theaters with the latest technology, and everything, the sound system.
Especially
There's-
something like this.
And even if
which
it's
is
not in
epic.
3D, I would not want to, if I can go see it at the theater today, I would not want to go and watch it on
You know,
TV.
there's a lot of movies you can do that. This is not a TV movie. You are going to miss. This thing was meant for the big screen. It's meant for the sound systems. It's.
I would think that
it's just
there's,
big and loud and shiny, and it's a great film.
but wouldn't they be getting a lot of pushback from the theater industry? I mean, because,
yeah.
my gosh.
Well,
It shows how much power the theater industry has.
Well,
They
Warner
just-
Brothers did this back in March. They made the decision they were going to. It's called day and date when you stream and release in theaters on the same day. They decided they were going to do that with all their movies back in March. So they're doing this all the way through 2021.
Huh.
Now, once we hit 2022, we'll go back to a 45-day window. But they took advantage of the COVID situation to try to push up their streaming numbers. That's all they did.
So it's just an opportunistic thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Just a
very
second,
much.
I gotta turn down Andy's mic again, he's swilling coffee.
You know, Disney did the same thing, but you know,
I
Disney
think it's coffee.
Disney pulled back on that here after
Right.
Shang-Chi. They did it for 4 or 5 months,
Right.
and that would have made more sense for Warner Brothers also.
By the way, good morning to Tim, who was joining us on Facebook Live there. Well, now this also kind of seems to me like we were mentioning. I believe it was a movie that started last week that if I remember correctly, Andy, you gave stellar marks to.
Yes, it's a wonderful,
We loved
wonderful
it,
movie.
we loved it, we loved it.
Hold on, you guys don't
Best
love,
movie of all
you
time.
guys don't love anything. What are you talking about?
I loved it,
Really?
yeah.
And the name of the movie is
It is The Last Duel,
The Last Duel.
and it's a Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott is
A
maybe-
genius.
He is maybe my favorite living director.
Oh, everybody's nodding their head. Yes.
He's
sir.
definitely
Yeah,
up there.
yeah.
He's definitely up
But
there.
he is just, he did Gladiator, which is one of my favorite
Right.
of all time
That
movies.
is an amazing
He did
movie.
Alien.
Yeah.
He did 1492,
Kingdom of Heaven.
Kingdom of Heaven. Oh my gosh, The Martian.
Kingdom of
uh,
Heaven stunk, but it did have
No,
Eva,
no.
Eva Green in it,
Yeah.
and she was.
Well, An American Gangster with Denzel.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Those
really.
are some big names.
I don't, I wonder how old he is because he did Blade Runner, another of my top 10. Yeah, I mean, that really is.
And now the Jackson's
Oddly
Yeah.
enough, the director of Dune did Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right.
so it all comes
which I
together.
refuse to see, but
Well, so now
Oh, I saw it. I thought it was great.
how did The Last Duel do in Payson last week?
it actually,
Better than it did nationally.
Really?
yeah,
It wasn't.
there were a lot of people there.
Yeah,
It
it
was
wasn't a
great.
bad turn, and it is
Yeah.
a great film, and,
Yeah.
set back in 1380s.
And from a true story.
Yes.
Wow.
Basically,
That's what's so
True story.
astounding.
There's a real lack of
So
those
you got
these
some,
days.
some
Yeah.
history in here too,
Yeah.
and just really takes you back to that.
So as far
but it tanked nationally.
as far as what made it really pop for you, is it the visuals or?
Oh yeah, well, it's a complete film.
Yeah,
That's where you have a director like Ridley Scott. He's going to put everything together here, and it's just.
right.
I mean, like you see, you get pulled back into the 1380s. You see how
Yeah.
these and some of the crazy concepts they had.
Yeah.
Just this kind of trial they do.
You can't get pregnant if you're raped.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't become pregnant. No, because they didn't think of it like that. They said a woman can only become pregnant if she has fulfillment in the sex act.
Meanwhile, back at reality.
And meanwhile,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a story of
yeah.
a rape. So, and Matt Damon, by the way, I have decided he is one of the best actors working right now.
This is two in a row for him.
Oh, he's fabulous.
Still,
Okay, by the way, we also have to say good morning to looks like Sean, Barbara, Joan, Marie, Carl, Lupita, and Linda all watching on
Yay!
Facebook Live. Thanks.
We're
for
building
coming
our
along.
audience.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, so the Last Duel did not do well at the box office.
No, it's
really too
It's
bad.
an epic fail.
Okay, so
Yes.
what are we talking about? Money spent and money received.
I'm very sad to report this, but I will anyway. And by the way, I did double check, and Dune is a $164 million movie,
Oh.
making it to build it. But
I would imagine a
Last-
whole bunch of that is CGI stuff.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
Oh, yeah.
The Last Duel, $100 million to make, and thus far, after a week, they've made $10 million.
Oh,
So you
ouch.
can't hardly get any
Ouch.
worse than that.
Yeah.
So and the way you figure, they got to do 200 million just to hit a break even.
Correct.
And so wow,
Wow.
yeah, that's they got a ways to go
And
for
it's
that.
really for Payson, because we have influence over people everywhere, of course, but particularly in Payson
Right.
for the Sawmill Theater. Go see that movie. It is so good.
Now, one of the things that Craig you mentioned early on this morning before we went on the air is that you felt that in looking at this nationally in the theater industry, that there was a reluctance by certain demographics to maybe get back in the theaters again.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
the-
because
the-
of the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, the over 35 crowd is not returned as strongly as the younger crowd has.
Is
It's
that
Warner Brothers' fault.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Is that true in
Really.
Payson as well?
Yeah,
Not as much, I think.
Payson
Well, I
seems
mean,
to
as
be
old
coming
as
back.
Andy is, I mean, that should skew the demographics,
Yeah.
considerably.
Yeah, and it does.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, take a number and stand in that line.
Yeah,
yeah.
really.
No, I think Payson, we're still not where we were. We're still haven't returned to post for pre-pandemic numbers.
Right.
But we've been slowly climbing. It's been a positive climb. But
When I went into the movie last week to see The Last Duel, looking at a theater that had quite a few people in it, it just made me so happy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's nice to walk away from a movie that just
wonderful.
makes you feel like that. By the way,
Yeah.
something that makes me happy, I got to say good morning real quick to Ty Lewis. He's also watching us on Facebook.
Hi, Ty.
Hey.
Ty, glad
Hi,
you were able to
Ty.
resist the temptation of that pickup line. Was it last night?
Uh-oh.
Ty's been on the road, and I'll leave it at that. I had a never-ending list of one-liners this morning ever since we chatted briefly on Facebook. Also, more people, Nessa tuning in, Ned, Tim, Robin, and Barbara all joining us
Ned.
on Facebook Live. Yeah.
And one of the things that they do in The Last Duel, which makes it even cooler,
Cooler.
is they do a Rashomon like production. They show the same event
Yes.
through the eyes of 3 different people.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
You see it through Matt Damon, the husband. You
Right.
see it through his eyes.
Uh-huh.
You see it through Adam
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver's the
Uh,
rapist.
The rapist.
You see it through his
Right,
eye, and then you
right.
see it through the incredible Jodie Comer.
Oh,
You see it
yeah.
through her eyes as the victim.
Yeah.
And it gives Jodie Comer a chance to use her acting ability in a very, very, very subtle
Yeah.
way.
Three
Yeah.
varies.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, there's 3 different versions of the same thing, and her artistic expression reflects the different shades of meaning. It's just it really great acting on her part.
You know, I don't remember
Rashomon?
a time recently
Rashomon, yeah.
when everybody
Good
here was
reference.
in agreement that, man, that was a great movie.
You know, and the thing too, the costumes in this thing
Oh,
were just,
goodness.
and saw it, it was like, oh, this is, you know, your Academy Award winner for best
Yeah.
costume.
Yeah.
Then you see Dune, oh, maybe not. Yeah, Dune is pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
It's
It's,
interesting.
you know, and both these films, you've just got, you know, hundreds of people involved.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
the
Oh my
extras
goodness.
and there's
The-
just,
The CGI people, we always stay, and watch the credits, and this is just this block of people.
And
It's
it's re-
extraordinary.
Yeah, it's really fun with Dune because part of the movie production, not the filming, but part of the production of the thing was done in Hungary, and there are 2 guys in the credits named Zolan doing different things. I love reading the
Zolan.
names.
Hungary is a beautiful country, even with all the Zolans. Interesting. So now, all right. So we talked about the movie, one movie that's starting today, but there's
Yes.
another one that's starting today too.
yes, Ron's Gone Wrong.
Ron's Gone Wrong. What's
Yes.
this about?
It's
Other than the
it's
fact
a-
that Ron's
yeah.
gone wrong.
It's an animated, it's a
Okay.
kid's movie.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
Something
kids
for the
movie
kids.
where it gets a little robot,
Right.
you know, like a personal assistant type, you know,
Right.
kind of crawls around. But anyway, it's kind of malfunction.
Ah,
That's Ron.
Malfunctioning
Ron's
robots.
gone wrong. Yeah.
gotta
Yeah,
love
there
it.
you go.
Right. And
And that gets an 81% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
they didn't like anything either. 81%.
Yeah, that's very high.
Yeah.
What did The Last Duel get on
I
Rotten
don't know.
Tomatoes?
Didn't look it
We
up.
need to look it up,
No.
yeah.
They can only get high so often.
And another great thing about The Last Duel, in my opinion, is how meticulous the Ridley Scott was in using the correct period armor.
Yes.
This is high Middle Ages
Yeah.
stuff.
So we're talking 1300s?
1386.
1386, right.
And for those of you that don't know the story, this is the last recorded judicial duel in French history. And-
Judicial duel.
Yes.
Well, officially sanctioned.
Okay, so
To
you two
settle
are allowed to go duel and
Well, yeah, they had to get the
king's,
king's approval.
Permission, yeah.
And it was the husband versus the accused rapist.
right.
Well, you've
Yeah.
got no forensics, so
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
one person says, you
Yeah.
know, they did it, the other person says, no, you did it. And
Right.
so they go, well, we'll let God figure it out, and
The winner
yeah,
is
you,
the
you
true
fight to the
guy.
death, and whoever wins,
Yeah.
obviously God has shown that that's the person who was telling the truth.
Where's King Solomon when you need
And
him?
then,
Seriously.
and then the other people were going to get burned alive. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if the
Oh, yeah.
if the husband would have been killed, then the wife would have been burnt at the stake for giving false testimony.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Very important, high stakes for the people involved.
Right.
Go get him, honey. Please win.
Yeah, please win.
Well, so much of it was just in the case of rape, like that, the one mother, she's just like, well, you should just
Yeah.
deal with it. I mean,
Why are you making such a big deal?
Yeah, or maybe
Just sort of suck it up and go on.
I mean, because the alternative is
Right.
you
Burn
end
at
up
the
having,
stake.
a
Right.
duel, and you might end up being burned alive. Right?
And the thing was, in those days, women were possessions, and so rape was not an offense against
So-
the woman.
They're not now?
The rape was an offense against another man's property,
Right.
not against the woman. It had
What
nothing
a-
to do
what a
with
weird
the woman.
mindset, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was more that the
Right.
woman was bringing. If she was lying, she was bringing false witness against the man.
Right. Exactly.
So it was more of an affront against him
Mhm.
than her.
Then worrying about her having been raped.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
kind of a-
So now,
And nowadays, we have bold and skilled attorneys
yeah.
to be our champions. And oddly enough, in Dune, there at the climactic scene in Dune, it involves a champion and another fight to the death.
But to look at modern times in terms of women being sexually assaulted or sexually harassed, just my personal opinion, I think it's gone too far to the other. Believe all women. Women tell lies just like everybody else.
Oh, that's not true.
Knock me over with a
I know.
feather.
And I'm a woman saying that,
Yeah.
but if you look at some of the
What
the
guy's paying you to say
stands
this?
of, well, if she said it, it must be true. No, I mean, there's false testimony.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, just like human beings do that.
Well,
They
it's going to be
lie.
interesting. So a lot of good things planned. What else is rounding out the slate this
Well,
week?
the other big one, No Time to Die, is still there.
No Time
James
to Die.
Bond.
James Bond. How's that been doing?
Done great. Yeah.
Locally done great,
Oh,
and nationally and internationally.
You know what?
Yes.
Yeah, not terrible. I think maybe it underperformed a little bit there.
Huh.
But no, it's not like last duel numbers.
Well,
It
now is
just-
that another one that's out streaming also?
No.
Smart move. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but these guys are on the cusp of profitability. So probably sometime over the weekend, they will, for No Time to Die, it'll hit.
Finally getting back in the black again.
Yeah, but they've got $460 million in the kit.
And it was 200 and something to make it.
Yeah, 275 was
Wow.
the number I've
Yeah,
had.
these are terribly popular in England too, so you've got a little bit of a big bump over there for that.
And to be fair, it is a terrifically good movie.
Really is. Yeah.
Maybe not as terrifically good as The Last Duel, but boy, it is really a good James Bond movie.
Very interesting. Did you see that one
I
also?
have not.
Okay.
I probably will.
Now you guys are both going to go see Dune today, right?
Yeah.
You bet.
12:30 though. You gotta, everybody know that it's a little earlier because it's long.
Okay. And it is 2.5 hours.
Dune's 2.5.
Right.
Yeah. James Bond is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
And if,
Wow.
like me, you're going to hold out and wait for the 3D version that starts tomorrow.
No, next
Oh,
week.
for
Next
Dune
week.
is
Next
next
week.
Friday. Yeah,
Okay.
next Friday.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so that's like a whole different digital thing that they send you for that.
Oh, yeah, it's a different version completely. Yeah. And then we have to adjust the projectors and set everything up.
I'd like
So
to just
it'll
come
be
and get up in your projection booth and see what you do sometime. That's
It's
fascinating.
Not much anymore.
Yeah. Huh?
Plug it in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
And swear.
everything.
Yeah,
I remember,
swear.
it wasn't that many years ago that I remember I was treated to a tour of, well, it was one of the Harkins theaters down in Tempe it was a multiplex thing with, multiple theaters. But they had, back then, they were still doing the platters of film.
Yeah.
And one platter was feeding like 3 different theaters and back again. I thought that
Oh,
was...
they could. We could link them all up.
And I that would be, if it was my job, that would be the time when all of a sudden there was a break in film and everyone down there is complaining because you're busy trying to
Yeah.
get things spliced back together and threaded.
Yeah, that's what they would do. They were awful.
Yeah,
I-
sort of
I-
hit
I-
popcorn at you.
yeah, Some people remember it, with a sense of nostalgia. I hated those things. You'd go upstairs
They're
and
awful.
well, all these pulleys and wheels and everything,
Right,
and
right.
they would fall off sometimes.
sprockets
yeah,
and,
you're just,
you know,
and then the
God,
film's
really.
dragging across a platter and scratching it.
Think of it as an opportunity to develop
Yeah.
new dirty words.
Oh, it's just terrible. And they you had to oil them all the time,
Yeah.
and they leaked oil constantly. They're just, yeah.
Sounds like an old
Th-
drama.
This digital stuff is much nicer. It takes a little bit of time to set it up, but once you've got it running, it takes care of itself.
Okay, any other movies?
Oh, yeah,
this week?
bunch
What,
more.
what else is playing this week?
Halloween Kills.
Oh, yep,
And how's that been doing?
did really good.
So it always intrigues me that every year, especially around Halloween, you get the horror flicks and stuff that come out. But there's definitely a market for that. There's people.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
how many Halloween movies have they made? I mean,
10 or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
just
obviously
never ending.
they got to be making money to do that.
And it's
Well-
Jamie Lee, right?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis,
She's
absolutely.
She's still there?
Yep.
Yeah, I
but
think
they-
she looks marvelous.
She
Yeah,
does.
she does.
Yeah.
But Halloween Kills has brought in, and it is what it is. You know, it's a stupid slasher movie. Okay.
Right.
It's got $65 million at the box office on a $20 million budget. The Last Duel, an epic, wonderful movie. I mean,
Extraordinary.
really, yeah, it's
Really.
extraordinary.
Really.
Good word usage there.
Yeah.
Spent $100 million on it. Just fabulous acting. And
visuals.
and great
everything,
visuals. Everything about it is,
Yeah.
is perfect. Ridley Scott movie, and it's brought $10 million.
Right.
So $10 million for this wonderful, expensive movie. $65 million for just a run-of-the-mill slasher flick.
Yeah.
Some of that's a demographics.
But some of the
Yeah.
run-of-the-mill
that's
slasher
right.
flick though too. I mean, there are some women out there that are taken to the movies by some guy that they have myself. Very few people have any interest in lashing onto me all of a sudden. So you take them to a good horror movie, and all of a sudden you're getting hugs out of the blue. And you do what you got to do to take advantage of these opportunities when they
Yeah.
present themselves.
And Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
All right.
Solidly profitable. I don't know what else to say about this.
Has that been doing good here locally?
Yeah, it's starting to fade out now. This
That's
will be
been-
this will be the last week
Is it
for
3
it.
weeks now or 4?
I think this is the start of its 4th week.
Right.
Yeah, no, it did great here to start out. Kind of, like you said, kind of fading now. But yeah, this is a Marvel superhero. Venom's a big Spider-Man villain, so
Right.
there's a little bit of that tied into it.
Okay. Now we're out of time here on the radio. We're going to continue the
Adam's
conversation.
Family 2.
Oh, Adam's Family 2 is still playing as well.
Yes.
And how's that done?
It's done great too.
Cool.
Starring Charlize Theron, Snoop Dogg, and Bette Midler.
What an unusual pairing.
Wow.
Or whatever you call
Tripling.
it. Tripling, yeah. Tripping, maybe. Anyway, we've got to get back to the music here on the radio, but you can continue watching the conversation here as we
We should
continue
listen to
on.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, in
He's the man.
I barely listen to Hans Olsen myself.
the
Oh,
first song that or the musical selection that Zimmer has for Dune involves a bagpipe.
Oh.
So
awesome.
boy, is that fun.
He always pulls in, there's, I think, I can't remember the movie, but there's a hymn, Those Who Perish on the Sea.
Right.
And
Oh,
it
yeah.
was Hunt for Red October, I think,
Mhm.
he did the music for. There's a section of that, I mean, it brings me to Verklempt.
Wow.
No, that's
Gorgeous,
that's the
gorgeous.
making him. It'll
Yes.
make you cry.
Now
Yes.
you may have heard me mention before that we're out of time here on the radio right now. So we're going to continue
And
you're
you're
back into more of
kicking-
your
and
favorite
you're
music, but
kicking
you can
him out?
continue watching on KRIM
See you later.
on KRIM FM on Facebook Live. And Craig has got to take off, but Andy and Tina are going to stick with us. Meanwhile, we're going to get you here on the radio. Back to more of your favorite music. Got tunes coming up from Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Marvin Gaye, Steve Earle, the Hollies, and more. But first, a look at Grim Country weather.
I like the Hollies.
We'll see you guys.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Take care.
All right.
You know, today would be a good day to put us on for a whole hour.
It would be, except for there's people that want to listen to music, and
Right.
it ain't my station. So
Well, not yet.
I don't know. I'm just happy doing my little thing.
Just happy to be here.
I saw Hans Zimmer interviewed. There was a movie, there was a show on Netflix or Prime or something, and it was about movie people, and there were just different movie people interviewed. What an amazing guy he is.
Now, how old do you guess he is now?
That's a really good thing.
I mean, because he's been at this for a while.
He has, 1957, so he's 64.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really don't know anything about him
yeah.
personally. You know.
Well, it used to be 64 sounded old, but now he's actually sounds
I
pretty
think
young
so,
for as long as
young
he's
to
been in
me,
the biz.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's German.
he is German.
Wie geht das Ihnen?
Yeah.
Yes. Was ist los?
And he has composed music for over 150 films.
150.
Yeah.
He's going to start getting the hang of it here pretty soon.
Yeah, he is so talented.
You know, really, when you start thinking of producing music for a movie where there's oftentimes little accents that need to be just right and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to carry out the emotion, the drama, and all of that. That takes a special
Well,
kind of
he
ear.
also did No Time to Die. I
Right.
didn't actually realize that. Yeah, and of course Gladiator, my all-time favorite score.
11 Oscar nominations
Yeah.
for Best Movie Score.
Yeah,
So that gives you
for which
Amazing.
movie? Or a total? With
total.
total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, he won for Lion King.
yeah.
But Rain Man,
Right.
The Preacher's Wife, As Good as It Gets, Prince of Egypt, Thin Red Line, Gladiator,
last-
Sherlock
last-
Holmes, Inception,
Right.
Interstellar, and
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Wow, those
Right.
are all big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blade Runner.
He's a regular John, even bigger than John Williams.
Blade Runner of 2017. Now I might have to go see that because he did the music. So Prince of
Yeah.
Egypt.
It's
mean,
very.
yeah.
The movie itself is very moody.
Yeah. Well, like the other one.
Yeah.
Right.
Very interesting.
But yeah, no, he is a super. I mean, a
Excuse me.
genuine composer. At the level of John Williams and.
That's it. That's just the two of them.
Well, there's some.
Well, John Williams, of course, I think he, rose to fame with Star Wars initially,
Right.
and did, quite a number of different movies quite well. I was always very intrigued with his ability, but now it seems like Zimmer has maybe surpassed him.
Yeah.
And what's the most recent thing that Williams has done? Do we know off the top of your head?
Not sure. But
It's been a while.
I can definitely look it up. I think he's getting on.
I was going to say, I mean, if he started back in the 70s with,
Right.
he's been at it for a while.
Right.
But the musical score for Dune is superb.
That's
And
awesome.
as Craig said, it's a big, beautiful, loud movie, and the musical score shows this.
Did you like the first Dune when you went and saw it to begin with?
Oh yeah, loved it.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a fan base because of the books, and
Right.
and I'm a early devotee of the book. Came out in '65.
Yeah.
I've read it a number of times. It's just a tremendously good book.
It's interesting though too
But I don't
that you
know.
like the movie after reading the book first, because a lot of times people have a difficult time when they've read the book and they have all the mental imagery that they've come up with. Sometimes the actual movie that someone else produces falls
Yeah,
short.
what you can invent in your brain to go along with the story is always superior to what is humanly possible to put on the screen. But I thought David Lynch did just a great job with it, and it's
Cool.
David Lynch is really a quirky, out on the edge kind of a director, and a lot of people didn't like the movie because of that reason. It was just too strange.
Right.
But I liked it because it was so strange. But we'll see. This movie is very complicated, and they don't use a lot of dialogue to explain stuff.
So a real visual movie.
Yeah, and you have to really pay attention and look for the subtleties.
So if you're one of those that have to like run off to the restroom in the middle of a movie, you might want to plan ahead on this one. 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends.
Oh.
Sorry.
See what you did there. Shame on you.
Yeah. So John Williams has been around a long time, but one of my favorite movies is Minority Report
Oh wow.
with Tom Cruise, and it's taken from a Philip K. Dick story, which also Blade Runner is taken from Philip K. Dick, one of the amazing sci-fi writers.
Right.
back in the day. And, I mean, he did Jurassic Park.
Yeah, another
You
big,
know?
huge one.
Yeah, and Lincoln, Warhorse.
Lincoln was a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, and Jaws, right? I mean, yeah, exactly. The iconic sound. Yeah, War of the Worlds.
Wow,
So,
Orson Welles stuff.
Well, but yeah,
not the
yeah, but I
original,
mean,
I agree.
the Tom Cruise one, really, and Tom Cruise really, I am quite taken with him. We saw a movie the other night with Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise, and it was
Oh, Night and Day.
yes.
Oh, that's
It was
hilarious.
funny. and
Yeah,
it
I've
was-
watched
and
that about 15 times.
I love it. I really love it. And I don't think I'd seen it before, but it's just real quirky, real, I don't know, it just had this engaging feeling to it. I liked it after the movie. I was feeling good.
Now, when is the new Top Gun movie supposed to come out, speaking of Tom Cruise?
Oh, sure.
It's supposed to be coming out pretty much any time, isn't it?
I think it might have gotten pushed back.
I don't know.
Craig would know, but
I saw a trailer to the...
it's all done.
Yeah, and has been that way for some time now,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Right.
But I agree, he's a good actor, he's fun to watch, he's very talented.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the,
I-
one of the best movies that, in my opinion, that he did, and it's not well known, but it's called, it's where he's a hitman with J.B. Fox,
Mhm.
and it's a very somber role. He plays it beautifully. I mean, very almost an understated role for him.
I have just some of the things that have come out in the press about his ego and stuff tend to make it difficult for me to watch him
Mhm.
Yeah,
on an unbiased,
Yeah,
in
it
an
is.
unbiased way.
He has his very public personal life
Yeah.
is so vivid that
Vivid's a much better word to use than I was going to.
it's
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to separate the person from the actor. But do you remember? Did you see Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Holy smokes!
Yes.
He plays a,
Oh, God, what
a
a
movie
funny-
director,
Yes.
a producer, I mean.
Producer, right.
And it's just what you would think of a movie producer being, slimy, unattractive,
Yeah.
Manipulative,
and ruthless.
ruthless.
Right.
But hey, other than that, a fun guy.
Yeah.
And who else? What's this? Robert Downey Jr. is in that.
Yeah, there's I know a bunch of people in it.
And that's
he
a
wears,
Sark. You could never make that today.
and
Yeah.
he wears prosthetics. So
Yeah.
he's kind of a pudgy guy. He's bald,
Right.
and you'd never believe that it was him. And he just does. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite roles of his.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
he does a lot of stuff that I really like, and his Mission Impossible things are,
Amazing.
they're pretty dumb, but they're not as dumb as the Fast and Furious movies, and
Yeah, right.
and they do just amazing stuff.
Well, you bring up the makeup, and that has really progressed remarkably in the last couple of decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I go back, probably the better part of a couple of decades, to Eddie Murphy in, Fat Albert?
Yeah.
Where he plays every person sitting around the kitchen table there. And some of them are large, some of them are bald, some of them are female, some are male. And what a fun bit of acting that would have been to try and pull off. And I thought he did a pretty superb job of making it all happen.
Yeah, I think Eddie Murphy's another guy. It's a lot of fun to
Oh,
watch.
he would. I have a feeling that he'd be an absolute blast to sit around and have a couple of drinks with in the evening and trying to get a finger on the pulse of where he's coming from, because I think he's probably about as wild and crazy as it gets.
I always thought he missed out on what should have been an Oscar in Bowfinger, where he plays two roles.
Finger.
No. Bowfinger, not Goldfinger.
Bowfinger.
Yeah, but written and starred in by Steve Martin.
Right.
And he plays two parts, and it's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing. It's a funny, very pointed, sarcastic movie about Hollywood.
Yeah.
There's a guy back
another movie that makes movie producers look like jerks.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some
I think they are.
There's some
Yeah.
some truth to that.
Yeah.
Could be. Hey, by the way, good morning to Roger, Candace, Michelle, Matt, Daniel, Susan, and Ned all joining us on Facebook Live. Appreciate it. The
You know who else is in Dune? Rebecca Ferguson.
and we know Rebecca Ferguson from.
Well, we were just talking about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible, right?
Right.
Oh, right.
The last
Right.
two Mission Impossible movies, she's played the MI6 agent that is mixed up with the Mission Impossible people.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
and I know this is a name that comes ready right to the top of your skull, Stellar Skarsgård.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, Stellan Skarsgård.
Easy for you to
he's-
say. And
yeah.
why is this on the tip of my brain or wherever it was? You said?
Because he's really a famous actor.
He's
and he's
very- yeah.
in Dune, he plays the odious, I mean, odious doesn't quite reach,
How about vociferous?
oh, that too. Well, yeah, that would work. He has a skin disease.
Who knew?
But he plays the Baron Harkonnen, who is just as, if you could imagine Al Capone, but being about 10 times nastier.
Oh,
And
great
then,
fun at parties.
and then you got an idea about Baron Harkonnen.
Huh.
So the
Yeah.
bad guys in Dune are really, truly
Epically
evil.
bad, huh?
Yeah, and Luca or Leto, Duke Atreides is noble, just an all-around terrific guy. And it's a great contest between good and evil. We don't get to see the Emperor in this movie, which disappointed me, but he'll be along, I'm sure. Very
Well,
cool.
they've divided it up into
Yeah.
segments, but
Yeah.
so just a little thing, and I was wondering about this when we saw The Last Duel. Matt Damon has this absolutely strange, weird, and very unattractive hairdo. It's a mullet, right? Remember, it was a mullet and then short shaven. So I looked this up, and apparently in the 12th century, there was a cranky historian monk named Orderic Vitalis. He issued 2 laments about the hairstyles.
That's where Vitalis came from?
I guess so. The Norman nobleman, right? He said he criticized these hairdos, and apparently they got the concept to have very realistic costumes and hairdos from these actual people in the 1300s.
And once they got done with the hairdo, they went over to the dentist,
Yeah.
Sir Winston Colgate.
He said they shaved the front part of their head like thieves and let their hair grow very long in the back like harlots.
Whoa, Vitalis didn't pull any punches.
Vitalis, the monk. Yeah,
Wow.
so he apparently that was.
So there was
how they-
80s stuff even back then.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was looking at this, this mullet on Matt Damon, going, "What the fluff, man? That is just odd looking and horrible, very ugly." And he plays, even though he's the husband, he plays a very unsympathetic character, which he does very well, because remember, the wife was the possession.
Right.
So he wasn't real sympathetic about the rape. It was more like, oh, this guy attacked my property.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
he
yeah.
insulted me.
Yeah, he
But based
insulted
on
me,
everything that's
yeah.
just been said here, I'm really glad that I'm pretty sure I've hidden away every picture of myself with long hair and even a couple from the 80s with the mullet. They do
Oh.
exist, but not out in public.
Yeah. Well, there's a great cartoon from the New Yorker, and the New Yorker is, expendable as far as I'm concerned, except for the cartoons.
Sure.
And there's a great
I mean, they have
cartoon.
more than cartoons?
Huh? Yeah, I know.
Oh,
They show this guy sitting in a barbershop chair, and it says, leave it long in the back so I can look like a nincompoop.
yeah,
And
that's
the
a-
mullet was just a dreadful hairstyle.
But it'll be back in just a few years. I
Oh,
mean,
God.
these things always come back.
Please
around.
no, please no.
I'm ready for the long hair thing again.
No.
But the cast of Dune.
The fact that I have hair is pretty nice.
Well, that's something that we should be grateful for.
That's right.
You guys?
Yep,
do well.
not all of our friends have it.
That's right.
The cast of Dune, yeah.
Yes, Charlotte Rampling.
And we know her from.
Oh, well, the earliest place that I remember seeing her was in a movie with Paul Newman called The Verdict. in which she
Oh,
played.
boy.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That
She
goes back a few
was.
years.
She was a scheming, you know, a betrayal person, and that is. I watch that anytime. I mean, that is a really super powerful movie.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
and now she's an old lady.
Yeah.
Very established
She's moved
actress.
into a wonderful, you know, way of being on the screen in her old age.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
very effective.
Yeah, she plays Gaius Helen
Right.
Molheim,
Right.
who is the head of the Bene Gesserit, which is a sisterhood of
Right.
um,
Kind of
women.
nuns, sort of.
Yeah, they're
Right.
devoted. They're devoted to mental and physical excellence, and they are behind the scenes manipulators and have been in the Dune universe. They've been manipulating behind the scenes for thousands of years.
Wow.
And Lady Jessica.
My, what a tangled web we weave.
Yeah, no, there is a lot in this movie, and the Lady Jessica, the concubine, not the wife of Duke Atreides, is a Bene Gesserit, and she's been assigned to be his concubine, but she fell in love with him, and in order to please him, she violated her instructions, and instead of producing a daughter, she produced a son and heir for the Duke that she loves.
Right.
And that loused up hundreds of years of genetic manipulation by the Bene Gesserit.
You go, girl.
Yeah, and boy, are they mad about it too.
Well, and heaven hath no fury like a woman scorned.
There you go.
Yeah, or
Even if she scorned herself.
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother scorn.
Scorned.
Yeah.
We're
All right, so we're just about out of time. I got a quick question for both of you.
We still got 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but I know how long your answers are, so I'm planning ahead.
Yeah.
If there was a movie out there that there hasn't been a sequel to, but we need one, what would that be?
A sequel. Yikes.
Wizard of Oz?
Which means you want to know more about the
Yeah.
people, the characters in that first movie.
Right.
Oh. Can I take a rain check on that and come back next week?
Quitter. What do you think?
El Cid.
Oh, El Cid.
Oh.
Wow, that goes back a couple
There's
years.
a show
Was
on
that
Netflix.
the 60s?
Hey, there's a show on Netflix right now that is Spanish,
Right?
a Spanish El Cid. It's
Ooh.
fabulous.
Muy bueno.
Oh my gosh. We watched the first season and we are waiting for that to come back again.
Huh.
Really good.
And it's all in Spanish.
It's a Spanish movie and it was made, yeah, it's all in Spanish. Just
El Cid's a big guy in Spain.
He is, and the story is so mesmerizing, and apparently they tried to be very historically accurate about this.
Well, our conversations
Very good.
here have made me pretty determined that I need to go see The Last Duel while it's still in the theater.
You need
because
to.
one of the things I love to go see a true story.
Yeah.
I'm not so much into the latest weirdness that some Hollywood guy dreamt up, but true stories. And it sounds like there's a whole bunch of eye candy to go with this true story.
And really, Ridley Scott is such an amazing director. Like I said, he's probably my favorite living director right
Right.
now. Yeah.
Very cool.
No, it's a very grown up movie,
Yes.
dealing with important themes. Wonderfully directed, wonderfully acted.
Yeah.
Uh,
And to have taken a story from that era, which when you think about it, and they even have at the end, what happened to these people after this duel. He went off to the Crusades.
poor Matt Damon goes off to the Crusades and gets killed.
In a couple of years later, but she lived for a way long time. And
it's never clear whose son she raised either.
yes, that's right. Yes. Let's remember, you can't get
Inquiring minds
you
want to
can't
know.
get pregnant from rape officially.
Supposedly, allegedly, and reportedly.
Allegedly, so.
Good morning, Kathy,
Yeah.
Veronica, Kim, and Susan. Well, I tell you what, first of all, when it comes to movies playing at the Sawmill Theaters, you can always find out what's playing and when it's playing by just going online to sawmilltheaters.net, and you can get all that there.
You know who else is in it?
Who?
Zendaya.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because she's a famous pop star.
Ah. So why does she sound familiar?
She was in the what, Dune or the last?
In Dune,
In
yeah,
Dune. Oh, yeah.
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 She plays Connie, the Fremen beauty that Paul Atreides has been having visions about, even when he was back home on Caladan and never got to Dune.
Ought not have those kind of visions. Now,
And guess what happened when he got to Dune
tell us.
and started to encounter the spice, which is everywhere.
Ooh.
Yeah.
His visionary experiences became more vivid, more powerful, more colorful, and more important.
Sounds like a story out of the late 60s to me.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Wow.
Remember, it was
1965.
Published in 65. I mean,
Yeah.
right there.
Well, they're okay.
You know, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there.
Oh, mushrooms. Yeah, okay. So now, out of the
Best movie of all time is Fantasia.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got to prepare yourself for that movie, though.
They're like dancing hippos
yeah.
to kind of perk up your life.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Now, out of a possible total of 5 saw blades, how many saw blades have you thrown at Dune?
Oh, 5.
Easily.
This is fun. This is three weeks in a row. We've
That
got
sounds like
5.
that sounds like 5.5 blades.
Whoa,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
You're going soft in your old age.
No, but tell me I'm wrong. The
No,
James Bond movie.
I haven't seen that, so,
the
but
the,
no, I'll believe you.
the Last Duel.
The Last Duel, yes.
and Dune.
Yeah.
It's not my fault that they make terrific movies.
Well, that's good because we went a while there we were trying to,
Oh,
kind of trying to find something positive to say about a few
I
of them.
know. Some of them were really stinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we always say nice things about them anyway. Well, they really tried hard, and that girl was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the monster.
And
was,
that
the
pretty girl was really trying hard.
Yeah. Or that monster was really neat when he bit that guy's head off.
Yeah.
And I love the closing credits.
Yeah, right.
But anyway.
Yeah, and the closing credits in Dune are not by Scarlet Letters. I was very disappointed.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
So
Huh.
why would they normally have been?
yes, almost always.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And see, remember the James Bond credit sequences? Those were at the beginning.
They always incorporated some
Saul-
interesting graphics. and
Saul
stuff.
Bass, he was the master. He won Oscars for his artwork.
Seems like the Bass Master.
Yeah, he was great.
Sounds
he was
fishy.
Really, really good.
Hey, we are out of time. Pam's got to get in here and do her midday show, but we appreciate you watching. And
Thank you.
again, tune in every Friday morning at 10 o'clock for your hometown movie guys here on KRIM's Community Spotlight. And again, we try to do a whole hour. We had some technical difficulties the last few days with our live streaming on video, but I think it appears that we have that taken care of, and we appreciate the plethora of folks who joined us this morning. And we'll look at you again.